All right.
Okay.
So is this episode 2 or episode 1?
Ooh.
Because I called the previous one the pilot and assumed that this would be episode 1, but the numbering
Yeah.
system's already always like a little bit fucked.
And also, if you ever actually had like a thing with like actually, if it was on Spotify or whatever, and it actually had episode numbers, it would presumably be one, two, three, four, whatever.
Yeah.
So like, I
But
kind of don't want to start it at two, but it kind of is two.
it kind of is. But it's also like it's
Yeah.
weird because it's like okay, so here's like an official introduction to this episode. This is episode 1/2. It is going to be get to know your podcasters, which is what I originally brainstormed for like episode 1, but the whole teaser reaction thing was just too good to pass up. So it's basically like we introduced ourselves last time, but we haven't really like talked about who we are in relation to Young Royals. Like what do we like about it? What are I've got a series of questions and we'll answer them. So there's our like post introduction, and this is our actual introduction. This is a podcast called Was It Royal? And we're here with me, Amelia, at North of Art on Instagram, and also you, Catherine. Say your things.
My things are I'm Catherine YC Reads on Instagram, and that's about it.
Okay, cool. So the basic premise is both of us we kind of got into Young Royals like a couple weeks after it came out. And Catherine, I don't even remember how we started interacting on Instagram, really. I just know that like you DM'd me, maybe responded to a story or something.
Do
And
you know what
then
though? Did you do some? Did you draw them? Because if you did, I mean, I know you have, but like,
um,
this is how I got to know so many people on Instagram and like Tumblr and all kinds of places because yeah, we just had like little kind of moments about
literally
how adorable something or other was, and
all I know is like you DM'd me like one
oh,
day,
probably.
and then we had an exchange a couple days later, and then like on the third day we just started talking like we'd known each other for like 3 months already, and we just like went off. So that was
Yeah.
in late August, September, something
Oh,
like that.
yeah, probably. And I'm pretty sure that was it then. Like, I don't think we had an entire day when we haven't spoken since then. I don't
We
know.
probably have, but it hasn't been a whole week. We haven't
No.
gone like a whole week without saying anything to each other. So that's
Mm.
where we're at. Young Royals is the gel, the glue that binds our entire Instagram community together at this point.
Yeah.
Even though I don't even post Young Royals stuff these days, it's still how I know so many of my mutuals. So that's just kind of how we got to know each other. When it comes to us as Young Royals fans, I'm gonna go through this little list of questions I just came up with off the top of my head. The first one is so we took a BuzzFeed. Excuse me.
Try that
Okay.
again.
We took a BuzzFeed quiz a few months ago when we were on call, and we it's like a which Young Royals character are you? Because I was just like, I wonder which Young Royals character each of us is. Like, what are we like? And of course, BuzzFeed is the worst place to go to find this stuff out, but we did it anyway. And we both got Villa, but we answered differently to some of the questions, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I was
Um,
surprised we both got the same one, honestly. But
Yeah. Like the questions are what do you look for in a partner? What do you like to do in your free time? What do you wish you were better at? And then it asks questions of like, what would you do if you suddenly went from prince to crown prince? Asks accessories and words to describe yourself. Sensitive, stressed, quiet, diplomatic, and considerate. Um and they're just like very surface level things. But considering that we both got Villa, like I want to know your thoughts on this. Like, do you think it's accurate? Like, or would you change? Would you want BuzzFeed to change your answer to something else?
hmm. kind of depends, because if the options are the main five people, I don't know what the other options actually were, but
They probably are.
yeah. So I'm a bit like, well, I wouldn't want to get August, so fine. I don't know. I kind of feel like Felice would have been quite a good one to get.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like she kind of did the most, like, growing as a person into her own person or whatever, like in the series, and I feel like that would have been quite a nice one. But apparently, just basically we're both just like anxious little babies, and that's why we came up with the with that answer probably. So
That's probably it. But like we
probably
both well, so I wrote down we both got Villa. Is it the scarf? Question mark? Question mark? Because one of the questions is which accessory would you choose, and I think I remember I chose the watch. It said which accessory can't you live without? Hair clips, beanie, handbag, scarf, or watch. And you were like, we probably both chose the scarf, and I'm like, we did. But I went back and I took it again, and I chose the watch, and it was still him. So
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
just have an affinity for the happy scarf. I don't know. It's
yeah. We'll probably talk about this in another episode, but do you want to give a little bit of a insight into your happy scarf, sad scarf theory?
it's only because that massive kind of plaid scarf thing that he wears in the kind of morning after scene thing, and when he goes to visit Simon's house, is I think it's a happy scarf because, and I feel like this is a kind of a fandom headcanon thing as well, because you only really see it when mostly when he's having a nice day, and then after that you don't see it again, and he has this kind of like really basic blue one that he wears when he's going to be like um going home or
Prince.
like doing Prince things, right? So I feel like that's the sad scarf because it's his kind of it's more sort of subtle and goes with his suits and stuff as
Yeah, and
opposed
it
to the
comes up even, excuse me, it comes up even before then,
mm,
because he wears it when he goes to see Simon in episode 2
yes,
and goes
yes
to
he does,
the football game.
yes,
Um, and then, but then he wears the sad scarf for Eric's, what do you want to call it? Like at Hilarska when they did the choir
like
performance
memorial thing.
memorial. Yeah, he wears it
Yeah,
for then too, I think.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I have a theory.
yeah.
It's probably not my theory. I probably have stolen this from someone on Tumblr at some point, but which is that you don't see it after he has that day at Simon's house because I think he's left it there.
Hmm.
I don't know if that is the case. If maybe that's a season 2 thing that we'll find out,
Ooh.
but also because I feel like that's the kind of last time they have their sort of like, happy little bubble thing. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely something in like that'll be an accessory that he probably chose for himself, just like
Hmm.
Simon was a person he chose for himself. And but there's probably something like it's probably not that deep, but
There's so many layers to all of it.
yeah, everything's connected. So
We can read into so many things.
absolutely.
Okay, we have another question. I feel like one of those radio people who's like, here's some call-in questions that we got. We have another
Yes.
question from past Amelia, who thought it would be interesting to ask the two podcasters, what is your favorite side character? As in, not the main five, or possibly like a character with the fewest lines or something like that. What's your favorite side character?
Ooh.
Do you have a
I have
favorite?
I have a soft spot for Ayub. Um,
Yes.
I think is actually because as someone who reads a lot of fan fiction and contributes to the writing of some fan fiction, for some reason he pops up and people have because he's only in it for a tiny bit, right? He
Yeah.
doesn't say much, and his character's been expanded purely from the fact that he like says bro or something like it's become this whole thing. I don't know why.
The fandom just ran
Um,
with it.
yeah, and so like I've written a couple of things where he's automatically featured in it because I just went, oh, I love this guy. Like, yes, let's put him in there. And I feel like both him and Rosh need like more screen time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I kind of can't wait for what they're going to do with season 2 with them because that's yeah, I think they're kind of my favorite little like, you know, hometown buddies kind of thing. So
I think it was in like the Permanent Reign press interview with Lisa. One of the questions was like, what was a scene that was cut that you kind of were sad about, or like just generally asking about scenes that were cut.
oh, I think I know which one you mean.
Yeah, and it was when Simone was gonna spend the weekend at Hilarska, and he was
Mm.
talking with Roshan and Ayub about it, and they were like, "What does this mean?"
Like, what does keep me company mean?
Exactly, exactly.
Like, well, listen, we know what it means, but anyway.
It was something along those lines. Yeah,
Mm,
so I mean, because it's such a short series, like they really had to cut a lot of
mm,
stuff, and I mean, I do feel at least a little bit comforted that there was stuff like that was written in the first place, that there is
yeah,
more expanding on those characters, even if it wasn't able to get into the series, and it gives me hope that we might get some of that in season two.
fingers crossed. Yes.
Please. Yeah, those are some good friends. We love them.
Yes. Would they be your favorites though, or
I don't know.
do you have somebody else as a side character preference?
Um, I kind of have a soft spot for Alexander.
Oh,
I feel so bad for him.
he
And
did him so
and
dirty. Oh, do you know?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And like he's got to be in season 2 in some capacity because the actor was in pictures from behind the scenes for
yeah.
season
Listen,
2.
but
Unless he was just
yeah,
visiting or something.
yeah.
But like I want more Alexander. Like I kind of want him to become like a vindictive asshole or something. Just like fuck all of you guys, especially the Crown
Mm,
Prince. But also I don't think he would be. But
no.
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's a lot, and yeah, again, it's like even though this was a character that was only in like tiny little kind of scenes
Hmm.
and sort of snippets, it's a lot. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot like you infer an awful lot from how he's treated and how oh god how August is with him and
Oh god,
the
yeah.
stuff that they make him do and things that you
Yeah.
don't see anybody else doing that, which doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I also kind of like Stella because she just does not take
Hmm.
any of August's shit.
Yeah,
She's completely disillusioned with him, and she deserves to be like good for her, you know.
yeah, yeah, especially at the point where like Felice kind of doesn't really like him to start with anyway, but then Frederica's just like, oh, he's so dreamy or whatever she
Yeah.
actually says. And like and yeah, I did really like that one bit where Stella's just like,
Yeah.
no, and just walked off.
My Tamagotchi just beeped. I knew this was
Oh
gonna
no.
happen. Oops.
We are joined today by a third podcaster in the form of your Tamagotchi.
Oh yeah, let's see if he can make some
Love it.
noises. Oh, he's sad. He needs food. Okay.
You should introduce your Tamagotchi.
Okay. Complete departure from Young Royals. I have a Demon Slayer themed Tamagotchi, and it can evolve into various characters from Demon Slayer. And I've just been resetting it for the past like 3 days and trying to get new characters because I don't know which one I want it to be. And it's not like one of those Tamagotchis where it like resets every 3 days by itself. Like it just stays like this until it dies, and then you get a new Demon Slayer character again. And I've tried getting specific characters before and it did not fucking work. So now I'm just kind of like, I don't fucking care anymore. I'll just play with it whenever. So yeah. Um
Awesome.
he's just vibing. The cute thing is like he just like moves back and forth across the screen, just has a good time. I'm gonna mute him. 'Cause I forgot to do that before we started. Um yeah, so departure from Young Royals. Back to Young Royals. Um And I'm also thinking about the scene in episode 6 where Felice, Frederica, and Stella are sitting in the library and
Oh
they're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the situation.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, but her vibes are pretty good. And I also like when they
Mm.
have the special dinner when Sada visits. Stella's like like glittery makeup and stuff. It's pretty.
Yeah. I do like all their kind of dressing up bits and stuff. It's quite makes me want to buy face gems. I don't know if that's it.
Ew. When
I'm
would
like,
you wear
okay,
them?
I have no idea. And also, not a teenager, so I don't know. I don't know how that would go down. But anyway, that would
Yeah,
be interesting.
valid. All right. I don't know which question to go with next. We have, out of the questions I wrote, we have 4 questions left. I think there's one that we have to do last, which is
Okay.
maybe. But would you have one of these questions that you would want to do next?
Um, I haven't got it out in front of me, so just kind of close your eyes and pick one. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, pick a number 1 through 4.
3.
Uh, no, we're not doing that one. That's the one I was thinking we should do last. Okay, we'll just go in order.
2.
Okay, favorite scene in the series, especially for me, like especially when it comes to the cinematography or the colors or something like that,
Mhm.
like the aesthetics. But it could also be content. Actually, let's split the question into 2. Favorite
Okay.
scene based on content and favorite scene based on aesthetics.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll think.
So I thought about this a little bit. Favorite scene based on content. The one scene that always like just hits correct is in episode 2 where they're all sitting around doing homework. This is right after
Mm.
August leaves the psychiatrist's or the guidance counselor's room, and he's like
You can't
struggling to
open the
open the
door.
door. And as he's
Yes.
struggling to open the door, ABCM Alphabet starts playing, and it's
Yeah.
just so good. And it's just
That's
like
hilarious.
teenagers sitting around and doing homework and like throwing shit at each other, and
Mm.
it's just fun. And then of course it has the iconic "fuck you, August," and just
Yes.
like and also like
It
they
is 2
all
o'clock p.m.
fuck I forgot to turn off my time thing again. Yeah, anyway, um and they all just look really good in that scene. Like the vibes are awesome. Yeah, so that one's just like a super fun scene. I really enjoy it. The thing is, with the other question, favorite scene when it comes to aesthetics, there's so many beautiful scenes in this show. Like,
Yes. There
oh
really
my
are.
god. I mean, I love the aesthetics of the party in episode 1. I also
Yes.
really love the cinematography of the beginning of episode 5, like with the like light coming in through the window. Like it's just beautiful.
Mm, yeah.
Um and then Lucia, like that whole bit with those are beautiful as well. Especially I have a screenshot that I really want to redraw at some point, which is Sada walking down the line of people wearing the headdress and the candles and everything. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
Um
I love that shot as well.
oh, so beautiful. But yeah, the whole neon vibes of the party in episode 1 is really good.
See,
probably
that
yeah.
was that was kind of what I was going to say as well, actually.
I'm probably forgetting.
Some like
I'm definitely forgetting some.
I think there's so much went into the I know this is something we've talked about, like the look and the color and the everything about like so many of the scenes. So I feel like we're we're all going to go, oh yeah, but then there was this bit in this one, and then and this bit in this other thing, and so yeah, I don't think we're not forgetting the rest of it just by picking these. It's fine.
Very good point.
I do think like the party scene, if you
Yes.
completely ignore the actual initiation part, can
Oh, I always skip that.
we have least favorite please as well, because that
Oh yeah, we can
cannot
ask.
watch
We can
it.
talk about least favorite scenes after this. Sure.
But for actual favorite, I'm not sure which bit of the party scene, because there's 2 things that spring to mind. One is the bit where obviously right at the very end where they're outside and they've got
Mhm.
their kind of glow sticks on, and
I love the positioning of that with
Mm,
like the people in the background past the railing and the 2 of them
yeah,
next to the wall, and like when
yeah,
August is up there and like the way that I don't know, I just love the whole layout of that whole scene.
yeah. I do, and I really like the fact that I think I think I said this to you at some point, some other point as well. Like, even like the colors in their glow sticks, right?
Yes.
Um, it is very kind of particular pride flag colors, and but also the thing about like Simon having a crown and like Villa having this kind of like sash thing. I was like, whoa. It's probably not
Yeah.
foreshadowing. It's probably not that deep. I feel like a lot of things I'll be like, it's probably not that deep, but maybe it is that deep. Maybe
So
it's a. So yeah, I kind of feel like this is okay going at a point where, especially when because in that particular part they've both kind of have figured out that they like each other.
at the very
Um,
end.
the very end. If they didn't already know, then that's kind of the
Yeah.
second, right? And so I feel like the lighting and the setup and just everything is just like, oh, I love it. But slightly earlier in that evening, um, I think one of my favorite parts, and it's not exactly subtle. It's literally where like Simon and Sarah come in and Villa like checks him out. Like August is talking to him and he's just like, I'm not I'm just
Yeah.
I've seen like the pretty boy. I'm gonna stare at him now.
Yep.
Like and I'm gonna follow him around now. And like and I don't know what this is, but I like it. Let's have that
Yeah.
please. So that's kind of that whole like scene, that whole night is like is so pivotal in there, like figuring out things and foreshadowing a bit of what's to come and kind of setting up who everyone is to each other and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Hmm.
um, and the lights are fabulous. Yes, so that's my aesthetic one anyway.
Yeah.
That kind of the whole
It's
party
so pretty.
glow stick thing.
Glow
I
in the
don't know
dark
about
parties are already a
general.
good look anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I keep trying to think of what my general one is because I feel like the morning after thing
Hmm.
is just as like beautiful, whatever, but that's
It's
still
so
more aesthetic because
sweet.
it's like
It's so
it's really
cute.
lovely. But then that's also kind of more of an aesthetic thing, I think, really. But actually, I feel like my favorite little moment with both of them is so immediately after that when like has gone to breakfast and he makes Simon a sandwich and it's the cutest thing ever. And Simon's obviously like snuck out of the window, whatever. That little
Hmm.
bit where they can see each other and they're like, kind of waving and nodding and whatever to each other. And
Hmm.
um, just before they get, just before Villa gets intercepted by like August and Vincent, right?
Vincent, yeah.
That little bit where they're walking kind of in parallel and the lighting's really nice and they just look so happy.
Yeah.
I think
It's just
I think
so
it's because yeah, like this show has a lot of drama and angst in it, and I feel like any moment where they are sort of happy and content and they don't have a care in the world, right? That is
yeah.
those are my favorite parts because they deserve that. That's my,
Yeah.
you know, wish for them really is for more of those kind of moments. So yeah.
Give us more of that, please. We don't have like any of it. We have just a small amount. Just like little
Yeah.
morsels, little
No,
crumbs.
and I was like, that little part is like 5 seconds long, but please.
I'm like listening to you and I'm like, oh, is she gonna talk about like when they're walking down to the lake? Like that's like a longer scene. No, it's just those 5 fucking seconds, and
Yeah.
that's all
I
that
mean,
we get.
I really like the lake scene as well, but I think, and that's the same, very much the same vibe.
Yes, it is.
Um, and I know a lot of people say, oh, like the fish tank scene is one of their like favorite ones. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, like, and I would agree it's one of my favorites, but I feel like it's not. I think I just like that kind of initial buzz thing
Mm-hmm.
of that they've just like been together, nobody kind of knows anything about it yet, and they've just got like this little secret, and it's just this
Yeah.
like happy little bubble moment, and I love
It's
it. I love it.
lovely.
It's so
The
nice.
fish tank scene is nice, but when I tried to draw it, the colors, bro, I cannot. Like the color grading, like the vibes of the color grading in the show is fine, but if you take a
Mm,
screenshot of it and you just like color pick the colors, they don't look good when you try to redraw it. Like you
mm.
have to change things to make it look good. And that like literally the entire process of redrawing that has made me like that scene just a little bit less. Like it's still a
That's
great scene and I
understandable.
still love it and there's still so much like it's good, but well,
Mm,
and the other thing about that scene is that it comes right at the end of the montage, the
yeah.
Sunday montage.
Oh, I do like the Sunday montage.
Oh my God. But the thing with the Sunday montage that I realized a couple times into rewatching this show is that it comes right before shit completely hits the fan.
Yeah.
Like shit hasn't yet really hit the fan. Like there's it's been mentioned that Alexander's been suspended, but like none of the like actual consequences of that have happened yet. And
Yeah.
so and like of course with the girls at school are like having their fun little sleepover moment and that's also pretty carefree. And but like the song just feels like really kind of heavy. Like it's a really good song and it's fun, but
Yeah.
I don't know music terms enough. But it
No, but
does the thing to your
yeah.
ears where you're like kind of pulled back. And so
Yeah.
like and then when I consider it in conjunction with the content and
Mm,
it's like it has that dissonance that really kind of for me leads up to all of
mm,
the shit that goes down afterwards. And so like
yeah.
every time I hear that song, like I want to cry because I know like that scene, that like whole montage made me so happy. And then once I like got it into my head that right after that it's not happy as much anymore or at
Mm.
all, I was just like no. So the montage is simultaneously one of my favorite parts of the series and one of my most hated parts of the series.
Yeah. It's like how as soon as you've seen it once, right? Watching their kind of morning after the football field thing
Hmm.
where you know what's going to happen.
Yep.
You're like, oh, they're really, oh, isn't it nice?
Yeah.
No, it's not because
No.
you know what's going to happen. And you know it's like a weird, the music's so good for this kind of stuff though, because it's just, it's very like, the tone of everything that's happening, not just like so that kind of like Sunday montage, like that whole thing is yeah, it's like okay, we are happy, we're watching them be happy, but it's also we know after the fact that it's the last time they're all happy before there's a bunch of
Ah,
drama, right?
no,
So
don't say it that way. It's totally
no, I
true.
know,
But the last time
I
they're happy
know,
before the drama, like when you say it that
no,
way, it just sounds so
I know,
painful.
I know.
And it
But,
is.
yeah, but I think I believe it's a very deliberate choice to kind of put something that's a little bit like a little bit more like dissonant, like you said, like into what otherwise is surface level a really nice and it is, and especially like you know for the girls and stuff for the most part they don't have necessarily drama amongst themselves
Hmm.
later. I mean, potentially by the end of the show there might be other stuff, but they are inadvertently drawn into what happens with the boys, right? So,
Yeah.
or especially when like Felice starts going like full detective mode and all that stuff. So, and it's the scene where Sarah tells Felice about August, right?
Yes. That's
So
mixed in
we have
there.
like a little bit of a sort of oh good
Yeah. So
he's getting what
it
he
feels like
deserves.
it feels like things are
Yeah,
good that are happening.
yeah,
Like things are okay. And
yes. And then you realize that's probably just like another tick on August's list of
yeah.
reasons why everything is awful and I need to
Yep.
cause chaos. Yeah. So,
Okay. The next question is sort of related, which is like
okay.
your favorite line or the line that you found most hurtful.
Ooh.
I very clearly have one.
Okay, go ahead.
So my favorite is in episode 6 when they meet in the locker room and
Hmm. Oh,
Simon says we haven't done anything wrong
yes. Yes, yes,
because
yes.
that it's just it's so good and it's so important. It's like first of all, that's immediately sending the message to any queer people watching that it is not wrong for them to be queer, right?
100%. Yeah.
And then it's literally saying like it's not wrong for you to have feelings for someone else and just all of this it's perfect. And I think I don't know. I think it's just also really powerful because Villa is very obviously feeling like he's done something really fucked. Like he really should not have done anything like this or ever. And Simon is saying this and Villa's like, oh, okay. Like, because the reality is the only reason that it's a problem is because he's the prince.
Yeah.
You know?
I think as well, it is really powerful, and I think because it follows on from Christina coming to visit Villa, right? And basically going into full queen mode immediately, and just kind of going, okay, this is what we'll do. Boom, boom, boom. Get it sorted. You don't have to be have anything to do with it. Whatever. Oh, I have so many thoughts about that woman. But the point is in that bit that he apologizes.
Yes.
To her because he thinks he's fucked up, right? He thinks he shouldn't have done any of this stuff. He thinks the problem is him having a relationship with this person, which and nobody has ever told him that actually this is fine. This is
normal. This is what people
Exactly.
and especially like teenagers what they do when they're
and I think there's an
themselves.
awful lot about his relationship with Simon and the things that they talk about, even though because I know that they ultimately weren't actually together very long and arguably didn't know all that much about each other.
It's fucking Romeo and Juliet.
And,
like, I would do anything for you, but I haven't known you very long, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Anyway.
And I think that is part of it. But I think but with that I feel like Simon says things sometimes that I think Villa just never occurred to him that would be true, that there was another viewpoint, right? So he sits there and he says, like, we haven't done anything wrong, and he's like, oh yeah, no, we haven't, have we actually? Because this was like, there's not, because at no point has this even like crossed his mind. I think Villa's quite has been obviously very sheltered and is quite easily led. Especially when, for example, he might go along with some things that August says or whatever because, Eric had says, like, he's like a brother, you can trust him, whatever.
Oh my God, that shit.
That's the whole thing. But I feel like, he has no reason to believe people are telling him the wrong things.
Yeah.
And I think this is a lot of why he goes along with what his mother says, even though he does fight to a point. But I think, because he's never known anything different, there's no reason to suspect that people would be just like lying to him or changing their story to fit their agenda, right? So I think the kind of honesty that he gets from Simon has actually been super important to his like development, I suppose. And I really hope that that's the kind of thing that is part of the the catalyst for whatever revolution's going to happen in season 2.
Yes.
So yeah, that so yeah, 100% agree.
I honestly, it's so it's just like it's such a straightforward line, but when you think about it more and more, it's just like, oh my God, on so many levels. So yeah.
Absolutely.
What about you? Favorite / most hurtful?
Ooh, okay.
Either, both.
Okay. Okay, I haven't got it on my phone anymore, but I did at one point buy myself a phone case with all the people are fake thing or from the football
classic.
Like, and I was like, I'm gonna go subtle nerd here, right? So I got it in Swedish.
Oh no.
I cannot pronounce this. But I'm very tempted when I go on holiday to Sweden to have that on my phone and see if anyone notices.
Someone will. Someone's gotta.
But
especially because they can
Yeah,
read it. Like
I know.
if you're in England, it's kind of like someone's got to know. They got to be like,
Yeah,
oh. Whereas in
yeah,
Sweden, like if they understand it, they'll be like,
yeah. And
eh,
I
I
suspect
mean,
there'll be a
yeah,
lot more people in that country who'll be like, "Oh yeah, we've watched it." Um, I think the only people I know here that have watched it are because I poked them too many times and they went, "Ah, okay, fine."
yeah.
So, yeah. So I don't know if that's my favorite necessarily, but I do really, really like it. Actually, I just really like that whole scene because I think there's like a whole like, I mean, God, Edwin's like such a good actor, but I think because there's like a whole like slew of like crazy high emotions that happen in this like one really short space of time.
Yeah.
And I think it's the bit where he kind of goes from like sort of messing about to suddenly going, oh, realization, I'm actually really sad. I'm going to phone the person that I think that I like that makes me happy. Is probably one of my favorite bits. But I'm not sure. Oh, hurtful things though. I feel like arguably the okay, the scene that's not a breakup scene, because I refuse to believe it's a breakup scene. Um,
When they're
but where
talking next to the dumpster
yes,
in
when they're
Simon's
talking next to
neighborhood.
them, yeah, because so okay, the thing with that scene though is that what I actually really liked about how they did it was that you came away from watching that and it was sad and it was like the whole thing is awful. The whole situation is awful. Neither of them should have been put in the situation at all, right? I
Yes.
feel like the adults in Villa's life have let him down.
Yes.
The situation's been completely like mishandled, and he only has a certain amount of like control over his own life. So
Very
he's
little.
basically come
A
back
certain amount,
going,
as in very little control.
very, very little. Yeah. And so, you know, he basically got handed a script to do this speech thing and explain this thing and had, I suspect, no choice in what he said whatsoever.
God, no,
And
definitely not.
so, but because neither of them have spoken about what that's actually like or what actually like we know from seeing the scene in like the car with Christina that we know that he tried. We know that he
Yes.
started to have that conversation and he just got like beaten down. And so it's not that he went in not prepared to try. It's not, and I don't believe he lied about what he was intending to do.
No.
I just think, it, there's a limit when you're 16 and your mother's the queen to like what
Very
you can
little that you
actually.
can do, especially when you've like grown up in that environment
Mm,
and are just used to having to comply, and you're
yeah,
under the impression that that is what your duty is, and that's you don't have
yeah,
an option, you know?
yeah. And so I think you get enough sort of. It's weird because I felt like if you were to have a regular breakup scene, there would have been yelling or like there would have been accusations
You
or there
think
would have
so?
been something. Well, no, in a standard teen
Oh,
drama
okay.
series,
Gotcha.
right?
Gotcha.
However, in this, Simon was okay, sad and disappointed, right? But I don't think entirely surprised. And I think he understood enough about it to be like, okay, so it's not because it's not just about, Phil needs to figure out what he wants. He needs to figure out how to get away and assert what he wants. Like, not,
Yeah.
just sort of comply or whatever, and however hard that's going to be. But what I think was really interesting about the scene was that I don't think there's really blame on either of them. I think they both kind of get where the other's coming from, and I think you kind of come away with it going, okay, I can see both of their sides. I get why someone had to stand up for himself and say, okay, look, it's not that I don't like you. It's not like I wouldn't be with you. It's just that you can't keep doing this, or
Yeah.
I need to look out for myself. And good for him, honestly, because that was a really hard thing to do, because he could just as easily have just gone, oh, okay, well, I'll just be, we'll just hide and it'll be fine, which ultimately would have made them both like, we
Miserable.
just would have prolonged the inevitable, right? They would have broken up eventually, and it would have been worse probably.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was actually like an incredibly mature conversation, really, or at least on Simon's part, anyway. And yeah, I mean, I feel like, so it for me, the bit where Simon's saying, you need to decide what you want, and you can take as long as you want, and I'll respect that and whatever. That for me, that's my kind of, it hurts. If you want a line that hurts, but I feel like it's also makes so much sense, and it is very reflective of like who he is and who he wants to be, because especially obviously there's a whole bit where he has that fight with Sarah
Yeah.
about where she's saying, you always put other people first, and you always like,
Yes.
let people walk all over you. And that's, so this is like the first time he's actually going, no, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm actually going to put myself first, and even if it's not going to make us happy right now,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah.
So as
So
you're not to bring up Heartstopper,
mhm,
but it's just
feel
making
free.
me think of the whole, he might not say it, but he probably wants to be more than just a guy that you kiss on the side and like in secret sometimes conversation.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Because it's like it's so similar. Like Nick and Villa are in a
Yeah.
kind of similar situation where they have this social pressure for them not to be with the person that they have that they like, right?
Mm.
And then the person that they like is someone who's complying to that and
Yeah.
trying to like understanding that, and maybe like especially in Young Royals, like not to exactly a healthy extent. In Heartstopper
Mm.
it's a little bit different, but if you think about it with like Ben and Charlie, then it's like got a similar feel where it's like
Yeah.
just a complete self-sacrifice to someone
Yeah.
who is not able to reciprocate or doesn't want to reciprocate in the same way. So it's just that's the similar it's the situation I'm thinking of. Like in this case, Simon is come to the place where he's like, I care about my own well-being too much or just enough to say that I cannot put myself in this situation with someone who
Yeah.
hasn't figured their shit out
Yeah.
and who is therefore like playing hot and cold and is in, sticking to, okay, I'm going to be with you. Okay, I can't be with you. Like you gotta, choose one. So I'm making that decision for you, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Charlie does the exact same thing with Ben. Like he's like, I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. But I think what's nice, if you look at both of those shows with okay, so with Nick and Charlie,
Yeah.
as well as with Simon and Villa, I think that you've got that kind of boy with dark curly hair who
It's yeah, don't even
right,
start about
not even, we're not
the
even doing those
visual
like with golden
connections.
retriever boyfriends. No, no, that wasn't what I was going with this. But anyway,
Continue.
um, anyway, so no, but they're both with people who, they are people who are out, and who are with people who are not out, and they are
Yes.
not in any way trying to pressure them to
Mm-hmm.
do that. And so there is inherently a little bit of, should we say, privacy instead of secrecy. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not they're keeping it kind of a bit quiet because obviously it's not necessarily a thing that can be rushed. You don't want to suddenly be like, I'm holding your hand in public now, and then all your
Mm-hmm.
friends are like, what the hell is happening? So it's there's obviously there's things that these characters have to work through. And what I really liked in Heartstopper was that obviously, like, Charlie was really really patient and really like sweet Nick because he was obviously going through his whole like proper full and gay crisis, right?
Yeah.
And so and he, to be fair, like he worked through it and he told his mum and he had the conversation with Tao and how and kind of sort of realized that like Charlie was never going to put any pressure on him, but obviously, but like he obviously needed to sort of work on what was going on with him.
And
But then also,
it's
yeah,
the exact same because fucking Simon's like, I'm not gonna pressure you to figure like to
yeah,
say like, oh, I'm with you or I'm not like,
yeah,
but you got to do that on your own time.
yeah, exactly. And what I liked in Heartstopper is that you see like the whole thing honestly is like it's Nick's journey, right? It's
Yeah.
him
Well, at
literally
least season
working through all
one.
this stuff. Yeah, yeah. Like working through all of that stuff, and
Hmm.
then and obviously there's a little bit of you know, he doesn't know what his friends are going to think and
Hmm.
like whatever, and then he realizes that most of his friends are kind of
Shit,
awful anyway.
they
So like
suck.
honestly, does it really matter what they think anymore? So I feel like that was kind of a nice thing, and once he sort of like figured that out, it was like, okay, no, this is easy now. This is fine. And I appreciate that if you add being the crown prince of a country into the mix,
Hmm.
you're going to get slightly different results.
Yep.
But like that kind of breakup, not breakup scene was basically like, it's interesting to me that Villa kind of comes out with like, what is it like, the shitstorm that would follow if I come out, right?
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, but Simon's not trying to do that. He's not trying to say, look, this is what you've got to do. And I feel like if Villa had gone, okay, we can be us. I'll work on what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna, how I'm gonna fix the fact that I've literally just hurt you on, in front of the whole country, and how I am intending to stand up to my mother, or I am intending to tell people eventually, or figure myself out, or whatever. I feel like if he'd have in any way in that conversation, if he'd have said, you know, this is what I want to do now, or this, like, can you help me do this, or can
Yeah.
whatever, then I think that would have been a different thing.
Yeah. Simon might have
Um,
responded differently. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think because he basically made the assumption that Simon was going to ask him to kind of go public with stuff he wasn't ready for,
Yeah.
but also, I know the kind of saying, we could still be us, we just can't tell anyone, was a kind of a last ditch attempt to, not lose what is arguably the best thing that's happened to him, right?
Yeah.
But it was obviously it was never going to work. But I think saying that and not saying anything else connected to that, I think is probably what kind of tipped someone over a little bit into like, well, okay, look, you've got to sort your
Hmm.
shit out, and
Yeah.
like because I can't do this, because it's going to be such a kind of a head fuck, I think, to kind of just to be on this roller coaster, because a lot of that kind of hot and cold thing, well, it wasn't really, but like uh
There was a lot of like back
there
and
was,
forth
I
though.
think,
Like considering, I mean,
understandably,
well, so like okay, so we've got episode one, we have episode two, and then they kiss, and then the next episode he's like, I'm not doing this, and then like a couple days later he's like,
yeah.
okay, well now we spend time together, and then
The
and then
thing
that
with
doesn't
it is
happen because his
though,
brother dies, and then he's like, okay, we can't talk to each other anymore, and then he calls him
now
up when
I'm
he's
high and I'm going to
high,
tell you I
and
like you, and
then
it's the whole
and
thing.
then Simon's like, okay, and then they spend time together, and then they get
Yeah.
found out, and then he just like completely anyway.
Yes.
Well, and
I
no,
think
and then they have the fight because Villa's like, oh yeah, well, so they're gonna try to pin this shit on you, and Simon's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm out. And then they have that conversation at the end of episode five, and it's like, okay, things are okay. And then the beginning of episode six, things are completely shit. And then it seems like, okay, where they're gonna stick together, they're gonna like get through this. And then Villa just like does what his mom wants him to. Obviously, we've talked about reasons why. And then they're like, it's just like back and forth and back and forth. Like I totally 100% like am in
yeah.
support of Simon being like, I'm not doing this
Yeah,
unless you
like I
figure your
actually
shit out.
want like off this roller coaster now. This is too much. No, I d- like I no, I do totally get it. I just think that there's a lot of those things that were not Villa's fault at all. And
Yeah.
I think at least part of it is like I can almost, even though his little face at the piano, oh my god, that whole like music room scene just makes me like, because there's like again there's like a little tiny moment of oh it's really sweet and then you have to just screw it up. But that was his like a panic, right? That was, and he figured it out. He, he had a day or so or whatever of just like walking around moodily and like seeing other people happy and going, yeah, I want that though. And then it was fine, and it would have been fine. And I think this is what, oh, Eric, Jesus,
I
like,
know.
yeah, I think this is the thing: is that bit, the first bit was like, I get it, I understand why that would have happened if this is the first time you've ever liked someone that you didn't think was somebody you were supposed to like was unfamiliar, or it's like, and him sort of suddenly going, oh, okay, might not be straight, might be
Yeah.
and like, I get that bit. That was, and I feel like that's a sort of almost like the understandable bit. And then, but there's, they had so much drama thrown at them. I can't even like, but I think the thing with it is that absolutely by the end, I can 100% see why someone would just be tired of the whole thing and just wanted to go, okay, look,
Yeah.
this is still going to keep happening, but you need to just do it over there and I'll be over here and you just come back when you're done. Yeah. Just like, we'll be cool. Yeah. But just like later.
Like, don't involve me in this anymore.
Like, I don't need.
I can't.
Yeah. And this, but the whole problem with that is that I'm not entirely sure that Bill can do it on his own if he doesn't have an outside influence that isn't his mother
Yeah, fucking
telling
good
him
point.
that
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
there are other ways to think. I mean, I'm really hoping that, because by the end, him and Felice were kind of friends. There was a lot of stuff right at the end where you're like, okay, after Simon breaks up with him,
Quote unquote.
and quote unquote, and after he finds out what happened, or that his mum knew about the video, and he yells at August and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, never mind. Wait. When you're done, I have to talk about that.
Okay. But there's a lot of emphasis on the fact that he's like completely alone.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind the whole time I'm like, yeah, but Felice literally just like spent like a week trying to figure out who did the video, right? She's like was nice to you after your brother died, and she's the only other person at the school who actually talks to you like a normal person.
And is like without
without ulterior motive, exactly,
ulterior
because
motive,
she figured out that Villa didn't like her, and that 5 seconds later she was like, oh well, actually probably the only reason I liked him was because
my mom wanted
said I should. Yeah. So part of me really, really hopes that they hang out more and they have, like an actual friendship, because the idea for me of like Villa actually being on his own, I think would be detrimental to his mental health, more so than he already is. So God, that poor boy. There's a lot going on in this show, and I just feel like Felice needs to fix everything for him. So
Felice fixing his whole life.
that's just and obviously my other thing as well would be that like, and Maddie as well, because A, she's amazing, but B, she absolutely knows who did the video. She was literally in the room like when Felice figured it out. There's no way she doesn't also know.
Well, and I don't know, because Felice, it wasn't shown whether Felice said like it was August. She just saw the thing on the screen, closed her laptop, and went to Villa's room and was like,
that's true.
It was August.
That's true. But I like to think.
I do. Yeah, I agree. But,
yeah.
And especially because Maddie already hates August. It's just like,
obviously. So that would work. But especially in any kind of storyline that involves him, August, getting any kind of comeuppance, right? Because if he is being protected by the crown, that means he's not getting kicked out of school, he's not getting arrested, nothing's happening. So what I would like to see is somebody in their little circle of people that knows, that does not include Simon at this present moment, uh, like somehow dealing out some justice. That's just like a little
Leaking
aside.
it.
But yeah.
Okay.
What was the thing that you were gonna? Because I feel like I
Yes.
know. Yes.
So here's the thing. I'm stupid and I forgot about the scene where Villa confronts August. And if I had remembered, I would have 100% added that into my favorite scenes list. Because wow. Okay, so many reasons. First of all, love the whole camera thing, like the way that they have, I don't know, but it's very satisfying. Also, acting on both of their parts, fantastic. Edvin's like, oh my god, that scene is so impressive and so cool. And I also love his acting in the following scene when he's calling his mom. I just those two bits like combined are so like satisfying and heartbreaking simultaneously, because you see the emotions of Wilhelm like realizing that the one person that his brother told him he should trust has completely betrayed him, and that his mom also, the one person who's like telling him what to do and he's following her because he thinks that it's going to be the best option for him, also betrayed him and didn't tell him the truth so that he could make his own fucking decision.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, oh my God. And it's so satisfying to see Villa yelling, like screaming at August, and August like actually looking, what is the word? Chastened? Chastised.
Probably.
Chastised. Like genuine, like he looks like, oh fuck. Like anyway, yes, oh my god, yeah, very satisfying way to end the series, honestly.
Pretty sure that princes aren't allowed to lose their cool or raise their voice or shit or have opinions about anything, right? So that actually happening, is like, this is someone who is on their last like.
Oh, and of course, like he's already gone through the whole thing of like, you know, saying all that shit on the interview that he didn't actually want to say, and then going to see Simon, and then Simon telling him that we can't do this at all, and like until you figure your shit out. And so he's just in a terrible fucking place like already. And then I just, oh my god, that shit hurts so bad. Like, but it's so like the whole, like the last episode is awful emotionally, but is also really like well done, honestly.
Yeah. And actually, I think one of my ended up being almost like a favorite, I suppose, in a dramatic angst kind of way, was just, and it took me, I don't know how many times it took me watching it before I realized, or I worked out the timeline, but figuring out that in the conversation that Villa has with the Queen straight after that like gym scene, that she knew that it was August before he went home and before he did the interview.
Yes.
And I didn't like twig that for ages. I don't know why, but it makes it obviously so much worse, because there's no, like, he has only been told what he had to do. He'd not get told the entire situation.
Yeah.
And especially when what you're talking about is such a gross invasion of his privacy, that to know that his mum, who's the person who was supposed to protect him, knew who it was, didn't tell him who it was,
didn't get the person who did it in trouble.
Yeah. Like, just and effectively then is choosing, even though it's the crown or whatever, but is choosing either the crown or August over her own son.
Fuck.
And the like, so by the time you get to like that very last bit, it's like he didn't have he acted with the information that he had, right? He tried to sort of say, you know, why can't I just be with him? Why, whatever. Basically got told this is what he was doing, you know, went along with it, was told this was the best way, like, and that presumably that if it wasn't the Crown Prince in the video, then nobody'd be looking at the other boy in the video because it wasn't interesting anymore, right? I'm assuming that
Hopefully.
part of the conversation was, well, this will protect both of you effectively, even though
Yeah.
everyone's already seen it. But like, it's not until you have that kind of sequence of events there. It's like he finds out who it is, he confronts him, he like talks to his mother, and then you have that like that it it's that lighting of the candle thing, isn't it? It's that like spark of like, oh, now I've got to do something about this because this is like because everyone I was supposed to trust. It's so I don't think it's now I'm really alone, because he sort of shuts the phone and then it's quiet, right?
Yeah.
There's no music, no nothing. He's just like there first thing in the morning, just like, oh, this is where I am now. This is what's happened. Oh crap. And I sort of interpreted that as like, oh, now he's totally alone and he's got to deal with this stuff. But I think it's more the people he was supposed to trust have betrayed him.
Yes.
And so if I am not listening to those people, what am I doing now? So, you know, at the very beginning, when he first goes to dinner with everyone at Holiska, and like Walter and Henry are trying to just like agree with everything he says.
Yeah.
And he's like, you are allowed your own opinions. Because obviously like people just suck up to him all the time. So he's probably just like, you're all weird. I don't understand. And obviously then you see that he never has the opportunity to voice his own opinions. He's literally not allowed to say anything in like a politics class, right? He can't join in with these conversations. But I think as of at the end of it, I think it's way past the point where he's gonna take that as read now. I think he's just gonna go, I really hope anyway, that he's just gonna go, okay.
So.
I don't need to like take anything from you people anymore, because clearly you were just lying to me the whole time. And so anything that you asked me to do is clearly a load of rubbish. And so, but he's got to figure out what his own opinions are and what his own feelings are and how he's going to, you know, figure everything out. It's like he is alone, but also
It's
like you can
it's the kind of
like, yeah,
it's the kind of independence that
you trust now, and how to be an independent human.
Yeah. It's the kind of solo thinking and solo action that most people who aren't a crown prince do and have to learn how to do. And he's never had to do it or was never allowed to do it. And now he's like, my only option is to make my own decisions, because no one that I had been listening to for advice or guidance on decisions is someone I can trust anymore.
Yeah. And I think part of it as well is that I think he's been listening to, you know, like his mother's advice and whoever's advice. And I think it just never occurred to him that that might be something that he'd need to question.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until, you know, I think he was expecting to call his mother, say it was August, and for her to be like, oh my God, like what? So what are we going to do now? As opposed to finding out that she already knew and didn't tell him, which is a totally different thing, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay. So even that's the thing, like he was still like calling his mum. He was still like, even to that sort of the very last second, he was still like trying to get her advice or her approval or something.
And her help.
Or help. And then realized, I guess finally, I think that sort of, you know, end of that phone call was more about him going, okay, so that's not happening anymore. Clearly, everyone is awful.
It's the fucking like. So the thing about Young Royals, remember, I think Lisa mentioned this. I don't know, but the whole thing with Young Royals is that, or maybe it was a video essay. There's a really good like 10-minute video essay. Anyway. So the thing about Young Royals and just generally any very dramatic show is that they take the feelings, emotions, experiences, the sort of situations, and then you heighten them, you heighten the drama of them, you make
Yeah.
the setting more intense, more stark, those sorts of things, and it makes it still works. It's still relatable, and it makes it, you feel it and understand it really strongly. And so I think this is the sort of, in this particular thing of Villa, like realizing that his, like the fallibility, I guess, of his mom and people he trusts, is the classic like teenage rebellion of like teenagers start rebelling because they start questioning, or like preteens and teenagers, because they start questioning whether their parents are actually always right, or whether they are, you know, it's that's just like why teenagers rebel, like for the most part, right? Like when you're a kid, you don't really question it, so you don't really do anything against the rules. I'm just speaking in very general terms. But also for
Yeah.
myself, like I didn't really rebel, but it was for other reasons. But I still, once I became a teenager, started realizing like, oh, my parents are actually this way. And I don't know if I like that. And for Villa, like he never did that. And now this is the heightened drama version of him as a teen starting to realize the faults and the problems and whatever, like that his mom actually could be wrong. And so there's the heightened drama that tells this story, this like classic teen experience in this form of
Yeah.
his mom literally just betraying him.
Yeah. I actually think it's even more interesting stock, probably because of how the whole series starts, where I would not be surprised if the club fight thing that happened at the very, very beginning was like the first time he'd ever been out anywhere. I would just genuinely would not have been surprised, because I mean, but even if it had been multiple times, I suspect, just like how you never hear from his friends ever again, I suspect he had like a little group of friends who were basically sycophants in his previous school, who he probably like paid for everything when they went out, and he thought he had friends or something, like because he's quite naive and quite sweet and innocent for all of whatever. And I just think like, well, this is my interpretation anyway, because I feel like you know, just like we said with like Christina, or with even with like what Eric said and whatever, I feel like he's never had any reason to like not believe people when they say things to him.
Yeah.
And so many people like sort of historically like agreeing with him and whatever is going to have an effect on you, I would have thought, like, and even if they were doing it quite subtly, I don't know, I just feel like it's interesting how he started out and they were calling him like a party prince or whatever, and he had to like apologize on national TV
I swear to
for
God.
something that was not actually his fault, which is horrific to start with. Like, honestly, I think this is 100% like a heightened drama thing. Like, it made the situation worse, really. And obviously, there had to be a reflection, parallel shot thing of him like, okay, this is me now, break the fourth wall, and this is me, determination face, new thing right at the end, break the fourth wall. So how they shot it, and it's beautifully done. But what's interesting is that you're shown a teenager who allegedly is like a partier, who is a rebel, right? Who is getting sent as a punishment to somewhere else. But 100%, I believe that could have been like the first time he literally could have been in there for 3 minutes and then somebody punched him, right? I don't necessarily think he is a partying person by nature. I think he just kind of goes along with what other people say or whatever.
Yeah.
Which a little bit is what I think was happening with the like society party as well. He has no reason not to trust these people, and so he just kind of goes along with what everyone else is doing.
He was
a
also, especially at Halerska, like he was told explicitly by his brother that he should trust August.
Yeah.
So that makes it like,
So I think it's interesting how, you said about like only now is when he's sort of starting to almost like rebel because he's figuring out things that like maybe other people would have figured out a long time ago or whatever, but also other people would not have been fully betrayed like in the same way. So I feel like those, little things that are supposed to show him being a rebel, I don't think really are. I think they're just him just kind of rolling with whatever's going on, and then like later it's not, because none of it is him making his own decisions about stuff until Simon, right? Until he's the one who keeps like pulling him back and go, wait, and grabbing his sleeve and go, oh, because he's suddenly it's like, I want this thing, I don't know why, but I'm just gonna go with it. And it's the only thing that I think is like come from him himself with no, because the way August talks about Simon and the way Simon's treated at school, he could just as easily have been like, oh well, this is somebody who I shouldn't be associating with, because he's seen for himself that this is a nice person and he wants to get to know them. It's almost like the first like sort of seeds of an idea of him having his own opinion and him doing the thing that he wants, right? So yeah. So I'm hoping for more rebellion, I think, because I feel like it's very much only the beginning. But yeah.
All right. We have 2 more questions.
Okay. Oh my God.
The next, it's not really a question. I just thought it would be fun to discuss as a just little fun thing our alternate titles for the podcast. The ones that we did not choose.
Do you remember any of them?
I have them. I have them written down.
Excellent.
Because you did all of the brainstorming for the podcast titles. Let's see. The first one was spaghetti with ketchup.
Oh my God. Which I have tried. It is not that bad.
Yeah, but you said you weren't gonna do it again.
Yeah, to be fair. It's apparently in Scandinavia it's not that weird of a thing to do, and I was like, okay, well, what? You do you, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy it. Not gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but there is something inherently different to putting like tomato pasta sauce on pasta and putting like ketchup on pasta. I don't know.
No, so
what the difference
it is 3:00 p.m.
Fuck.
It's a different consistency as well, but like also it's cold.
Yeah, no, so first of all, gross, cold sauce on pasta is just not a good vibe. But also ketchup, as in addition to the whole tomato thing, also has vinegar, which is a huge component in it, which changes things. The consistency is totally different. And it's also got sugar. They usually add sugar to ketchup. But whereas tomato sauce usually also has stuff like basil or onion or other kinds of flavoring, garlic, which sometimes you'll find in ketchup, but not like the main thing with ketchup is the acidity.
I just think it was really funny that when we did our first rewatch thing, it was ages ago now.
Yeah, it was like last fall sometime.
So we did a rewatch / drinking game. But I got like satsumas and I got like a microwave kind of like spaghetti thing.
Oh God!
So I could put ketchup on it, so I could try it just to see.
No.
And like glow sticks and whatever.
I also got glow sticks.
Full on vibe of the show, but I think yeah. So it was like it wasn't bad. Probably wouldn't do it again, but yeah. I would suggest that people try this at home, but the drinking game was quite good. Yeah.
Do you want to discuss what the drinking game was, or do you want to save that for an episode where we literally just talk about possible drinking games that you could play with this show?
We should absolutely have. Oh my god.
Okay, we're gonna save that. We're gonna save
Yeah.
the whole thing for.
There's a few options, honestly, but like we did have a specific one for that.
We had a
Yeah.
very good one. It was
It was
very
good.
good. I even kept tally. Okay. The next one was just revolution, which is
Yeah. Would
pretty
have been a bit.
straightforward.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been a bit vague if you were searching podcast ideas, I
Yeah.
suppose. But like, it's like the song that sticks in your brain forever.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other one was it royal? We've got a few more, but was it royal was next, which is the one that we went with. And then I added the like in parentheses like subtitle a Young Royals podcast just to make it straightforward.
So just so we're clear of what, yeah, absolutely.
And like was it royal? It's got the word royal in it, and it's like I don't know, it's a Maddie line. So.
Yeah, we do favor the Maddie lines.
And it's not like a serious title. It's a fun title. And then we had Metal People.
Oh my god, yeah.
Which was like
I was going a bit abstract because obviously if you'd only seen it once, you probably wouldn't even remember that bit. But yeah, it's the like practice target people or whatever on the football field, right?
Yeah. All the people are made of metal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another like sort of serious title. So and the next one was Boiled or Grilled, which is not a very serious title. It's another sort of a food title. You might have been hungry when you're writing this, but
probably.
Yeah. Boiled or Grilled, classic. And then of course
like,
they didn't have grilled, so he had to get boiled.
Yeah. I was like, do you even I didn't even understand that question in the series to start with. I was like, how
the hot dog stand has two ways of cooking the hot dogs, but everyone knows that the grilled ones are superior, so they sell out faster.
Yeah, I mean, I get it now, but also, you know, I don't really live somewhere that has a lot of hot dog stands.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, yeah, I sort of expected them to either be out of like the big vat of boiling water or to actually have one of those, what are those things called where they have all the sausages and it turns them
and
really, really slow?
I have no idea what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they have those in like cinemas and stuff, I think, as well.
They have those in 7-Eleven.
Oh my god.
I've never had a 7-Eleven hot dog and I don't plan on it. It'll probably kill me, but yeah. I like gas station hot dogs are like that. Yeah. The next one was Have a Nice Christmas.
Oh god, no, we would have been destroyed for that. No. That is like the worst, yeah. Christmas was not the same this year, let's just say.
No.
Like, I feel like anyone who's watched the show would just have been like, anytime anyone says that.
Yeah. Well, like luckily Have a Nice Christmas is not something people say here. They usually just say Merry Christmas. So it doesn't hit the same. So I wasn't like thrown off by it. But if Have a Nice Christmas was a more common saying, I probably would have been like,
oh, right in the feels.
Everywhere I went. All right.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't go with that one. That was fine.
Yeah. The last question that I have here is probably a good question for us to have in whatever episode is our very last episode. But let's just ask it now.
Okay.
Regarding the show Young Royals, was it royal? Was the show Young Royals royal?
No.
No? Or I don't know.
No.
No.
I realize I'm saying that like it's a question. Okay, so I think this kind of my thought on this would be a little bit to take it back to the last episode where we were talking about how in the trailer there was a bit of a kind of, you know, promo for the school and it was all very like, here are lots of rich kids and they go rowing and blah blah blah. There's a certain expectation of what you're going to see in the show. And because it is talking about somebody who happens to be a prince, and it is in a school where there happen to be a bunch of rich kids, I think the point is that it happens to be a prince, right?
Yes.
Even that is the issue that it becomes more sort of a bigger issue, potentially. But what it's about is like their kind of the character interactions and relationships and stuff, and like the love story between Simon and Villa, and the like that none of that is about royalty. Like
Yes.
you only see that when like he goes home, right? It doesn't encroach on their personal relationships, I would say, because obviously, again, there's certain things with how people treat Prince Wilhelm, right?
Yeah.
And how, the sort of things that people like say and do in his presence, and obviously a whole bigger issue of like whether or not they're being like real with him. But part of the whole reason that he likes Simon in the first place, I think, is because he doesn't get treated like Prince Wilhelm. He gets treated like himself. And so, yeah, I would argue that the drama comes from like the royal family and the expectations and blah blah blah, but the actual show isn't.
Yeah. And I think it's
Yeah.
also pretty telling that, like, when we see the royal family, for the
Mm.
most part, we're seeing not royal stuff. Like, when the thing that really sticks in my mind is when they have a family dinner, like right
Yeah.
after Eric's funeral, and they're
Yeah.
sitting down at like a small table and they're setting their own table and
Yeah.
they're having, you know, it's a tense and kind of formal event, like they're eating properly and everything, but it's we're not getting what we would expect, like royalty. It's very much like a private sort of inside view, and it's not
Yeah.
the royal that we're expecting. And
No.
even like, we see like Wilhelm, he's a teenage boy, and like when his mom comes after the video comes out and she, that we see the royal queen sitting next to her son on a bed in the middle of a messy dorm room, right?
Mm.
So it's kind of like, yes, it's called Young Royals, but it's not really much about the royal part of being royalty. Like, it's about the
No.
consequences of it, but we don't really see like the fancy events and dinners and special speeches and parades and crap like that. We don't see
Yeah.
that royalty stuff. So yeah.
Mm.
I do think it was royal in like the idea of like, oh man, it was a good show.
Oh yeah.
And I love Baddie's like, was it royal? She's like,
I love that because it's like I don't even know. I, I just love all of her lines basically.
it's following up from her like, do you think that royal dick is better than regular?
Yeah.
And that's why she's asking it, of course. And I that's
Oh my god, and
enjoy it.
100%. I okay, my personal headcanon thing for like something that she needs to do in series 2, right? I really, really want her to ask Simon that question.
Oh
And
my
I want him
god.
And right, and because you know how like he's not supposed to admit to it because like Villa denied it, right? I really want him to go, well, I haven't had regular, so
Oh, that would be. Oh my
that would
god.
be spectacular.
I don't know if she would, but that would be so
No, I
fun.
mean I kind of doubt it, but like that would
See, here's the thing. This show is not very silly. Like, that's a sort of like
No.
silly situation,
Yeah.
and the show takes itself too seriously for.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would. Unless we see Maddie and Simon actually becoming friends, which I kind of hope so, because I think there's like a little flash of that, like one tiny little bit in it, like in it's the bit immediately before they argue in the music room, right? Because it's when Villa's just like staring at him, for,
Yeah.
like like you're not who I thought you were. But it's but it's literally like Maddie and Simon having like a nice little kind of 2-second moment, and
Yeah.
it makes me kind of hopeful that maybe Simon will have some friends as well later on because he's going to go back to being alone and having no friends except his sister, right? So we know how that's going to go down eventually, so probably. Uh, but especially, I mean, even regardless of like the Sarah and August thing and the fact that she knows and hasn't told him and blah blah blah, that the part where she is planning to move in like be a boarder is going to make like if that actually happens, that's going to make a massive difference to their like sibling dynamic anyway, right?
Oh,
Because
100%.
like that's the because like he went to this school because she needed somewhere else to go.
Yeah. Well, and
He
bro,
wasn't. He was just going to kind of keep his head down and just like not be bothered by stuff and just do what he needed to get good grades and then leave.
bro,
But
look,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
since Sada literally knows that August took the video and
Mhm.
hasn't fucking told him and
Mhm.
has instead used it as a bargaining chip so that she can get her spot at the school.
Mhm.
Like, I, mm,
Although I
the
do think that
drama.
August thinks that Sarah told
I do, yeah,
Willa,
I do think
which
so.
so I'm not sure how that's going to end up happening, depending on whether it had already been applied for or whatever, I suppose.
Even the fact that she tried,
Yeah,
you know. Anyway,
yeah,
that's all to be seen.
yeah.
I have a countdown on my Kakao chat profile
Mm.
for the literally the last day of the year. So, because Young Royals is supposed to come out in 2022, so we officially
Mhm.
have 193 days or less left before the season comes out.
I think one of my favorite Instagram accounts at the moment, I can't remember the actual name of it, but it's literally like every day they post a picture and go, "It's one less day till the release of season two." And
Yes,
they're like, "It is. It literally
it
is." Oh,
literally is.
but
Me,
when?
give it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh
I'm gonna
no.
become insufferable when season two drops.
Oh yeah.
Or even when we find out when it's gonna drop.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 It's
Okay.
I feel like I'm getting a bit like that about the Red Wine Royal Blue movie already. So like any other content of stuff that I like, yes, bring it
Yeah.
on. I need it right now. But I will have no other personality at all.
Nope.
Like this will
When it
continue.
comes out, I mean
That's it though.
that's it.
Watch us all go into like a sort of weird hibernation the day it actually gets released, and because we don't want to, like, I'm not going to be able to go on socials until
You watch it
because
all.
immediately people are going to be doing edits and doing like
Yeah.
the stuff that happened last time, but excessively more. And so there's no way to avoid spoilers at all. So yeah,
Nope.
I'm gonna have to watch it probably at least a couple of times before I resurface, I think. I'm very excited about the whole thing, but I wish they could just like start giving us something now. That would be nice. Something.
I just wanna have a
Just like a
date.
promo picture, please.
I just wanna have a like some sort of like, oh, we're gonna drop a trailer on this day.
Mm.
Like I don't even need like we're gonna drop the series on this day. I do want to know when they're gonna drop the series, but I don't need it. You know,
Yeah.
I need a date to put in my calendar to look forward to.
Yes. Yeah. I
A
need
date
like
that I can give to my family to be like, so by the way, this is coming in a couple months, but when this day comes, you're gonna want to just prepare yourselves to just hear about Young Royals constantly and nothing else.
yeah. And you're gonna want to be elsewhere for
Yes.
7 hours or something, and then once I've recovered,
Once I've calmed down, then I'm gonna info dump on you. So you're gonna have to like
yeah,
prepare yourself, get like a nice cup of tea or coffee and a snack, and I'm gonna sit on the floor and you're gonna sit on the couch and I'm just gonna talk about it.
yeah.
That's the ADHD life, my dude.
Oh, I know. And like, is that before or after we've had like the extensive discussion, like in DMs about this? Because I know that's happening as well, obviously. So,
I have no idea.
um,
I really hope that it's after because then I'll be able to like get all of the edge off by
yeah,
talking with someone who actually is invested before I go blabbering to someone who's just going to sit there and listen and I'm going to be like, "Yeah, I know that I'm bothering you right now, but I need this."
yeah. Oh, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be so good. Oh, we're all gonna be just sobbing, just. Uh, hopefully, because it's happy. Although I suspect
No, it's Young
no.
Royals. It's not going to be happy.
No, there will be drama, but I just, yeah,
There will probably be some good parts, like some like lighthearted parts.
yeah, I want just
But
like an ultimate happy ending, you know? Like I can deal with there being drama things and there being new, things in the way, but please, just give them all a happy ending, please.
just give me like a I don't want it to end the way that this one ended.
Mm.
All right, shall we wrap up for today?
Sure.
If you listen to this whole thing, honestly, very impressive, and also I very much appreciate you. And I hope you're not tired of us. You might be. In which case I'd suggest you go and like take a little breather, listen to something else. Just
I'm sorry.
detox. Have a little detox from Young Royals chat and our voices and speech patterns. This was
thank you to the like two of probably like my other internet friends who probably are still listening, but so hi. But
yeah, there's probably like 3 people.
Yeah.
I know I have one friend who listened to the first episode, has not seen Young Royals, and just listened to the whole thing while she was drawing or something, and she was like, "This was nice." And I was
Commitment.
like,
Okay.
"Cool."
Hi. Awesome.
Hi.
Why would you? Okay, I mean,
I don't know.
yeah, I would recommend. I mean, I know this is a bit late in the day. I would recommend that you see it if you have not seen it. But obviously,
Oh yeah,
you're
like
here
if you haven't
anyway.
seen Young Royals and you've listened to this whole very spoiler-filled podcast, and maybe also the first episode of this very spoiler-filled podcast, go watch Young Royals.
Yeah, please
Or
do.
don't.
It would make so much. Everything will make so much more sense.
It will make so much more sense. 100%. All right.
Also, if you've
yeah.
seen it as many times as we have, then hi and yes, we're very excited about.
And we
the whole
probably
thing.
got some things wrong. Please do not hold us accountable for having horrible memory. But yeah, you can yell at us if you want to, although we will probably cry.
I feel like enthusiastically interact in a nerdy way would be better than yelling. Don't yell. I don't respond well to yelling. I will respond well to like enthusiasm. Yes.
We're just little crybabies. Anyway, this is little crybaby number 1, Amelia. And that is
apparently laughing baby number 2.
Catherine.
I'm Catherine. I've been Catherine, and this has just all gone in
For this
turned into
whole
chaos.
hour and 41 minutes we've been recording, you have been, in fact, Catherine.
I have. I generally am, so that's good.
I'm glad you didn't like just completely get Adam for Adam replaced with another person who is not named Catherine.
No. I mean, that was yeah. Does that normally happen when you do podcasts with people? I don't know.
I have no idea. I really hope it doesn't. Otherwise, I'm like totally in deep shit for the future.
Yeah. No, let's assume that I am still me and you are still you and we are still nerds. It's all good.
Yes. That is Catherine. This is Amelia. This was it royal?
Royal.
I think this episode was pretty okay royal, you know? I hope.
Yeah. We mentioned royalty at least once. So
100%. We mentioned royalty. It was officially royal.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.